Once again, a quick revision video for class 7 on plant reproduction. Part 1. The part 2 will deal with sexual reproduction. Now again we reiterate, this is not a substitute for your textbook. This is only meant for a quick revision. The last minute exam revision, this is not a substitute for your book, but this is essentially a quick revision, last minute exam revision video, where only the important points will be covered. So, quick revision video for class 7, plant reproduction part 1, dealing with vegetative and asexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction, flowers, seeds, germination, fertilization, all these will be covered in part 2. That's plant reproduction 2, the next video. Now, first of all, let us understand what is vegetative parts and what is reproductive parts. Root, stem, leaf, and non-floral buds are called vegetative parts. Flowers are called reproductive parts. Root, stem, leaf, and the leaf bud or vegetative buds which grow into shoots, they are called vegetative parts. Flowers are called reproductive parts. So here we have leaves, that is vegetative. Next we have flower, which is reproductive. We have stem, which is vegetative. Roots, vegetative. Only flowers and what we get from flowers, fruits and seeds, they are reproductive parts. Root, stem, leaf, they will be regarded as vegetative parts. Reproduction means producing new individuals from their parents. Producing new individuals or producing new organisms from their parents. This definition is true for both plants and animals. Now, in plants, we have 3 varieties by which new plants can be produced from parents: vegetative, asexual, and sexual. This is asexual reproduction, and when you get flowers and formation of seeds, that is sexual reproduction. First, vegetative reproduction. Producing new plants from the vegetative parts is called vegetative propagation. You have to produce new plants from the vegetative parts of the parent plant body. And we have already seen that the vegetative parts are root, stem, leaf. It is not a sexual reproduction. Why? Why is vegetative propagation not considered a sexual reproduction? 2 reasons. 1, plants are not grown from seeds, and 2, only one parent is involved. We don't get 2 parents. That is the reason why we do not consider vegetative propagation as sexual reproduction, because there is only one parent involved and we are not getting seeds, no seeds. Now, it can be from stem cutting. Examples: rose, champa, and sugarcane. It can be from root, sweet potato and dahlia. It can be from bud in underground stem, potato and ginger. It can be from bud on leaves, for instance, bryophyllum. So these are the ways in which we can vegetatively propagate a plant. First is stem cutting. A piece of stem containing one or more nodes will be removed or cut out and buried in damp soil and watered daily. So this is a stem we have cut a piece of stem and note that it contains a node, means that is a point from which leaf will arise. This is a node. So a stem containing at least one node, it is put in the damp soil and water every day. You can find that it grows into a new plant. So what we have done is we have taken a portion of the stem and put it in the damp soil and it will grow into a new plant. This is stem cutting. You can get it for money plant, rose, champa, sugarcane, strawberries. Next is bud. Now first, it is important to distinguish that buds may be of two kinds. Buds may be of two kinds. The first one is flower buds or floral buds. These buds will blossom into flowers. When they open, they blossom, they will become flowers. The second kind of bud is vegetative buds. Sometimes they are called leaf buds. They will grow into shoots or branches. They will not become flowers. They will grow into shoots or branches. So flower buds will become flowers and vegetative buds will become shoots or branches. In appearance, flower buds are usually fat and round, whereas the vegetative buds are more pointed and less plump. So vegetative propagation should be from vegetative bud, not from flower buds. Vegetative buds can be used to grow new plants. What we do? This is a potato. And these are the so-called eyes where you find buds. Buds are found in the eyes, the so-called eyes of potato. So if you cut a piece of potato containing at least one eye and bury it, here we have buried this potato, you can also cut it into pieces, a new plant is growing. The same thing is for ginger. The ginger you can bury. If it contains buds, it will grow into a new plant. So buds from underground stems like potato and ginger can be used to grow new plants, that is a vegetative propagation. Bryophyllum leaves have buds along the edges or margins of their leaves. There is a leaf and this is the edge or margin. On the margin you have got the buds. The buds sometimes grow into new plants and sometimes they fall to the ground and then afterwards they grow into new plants. But sometimes they can also start growing here itself and then fall to the ground and then become a new plant. So this has become a new plant. So these are buds found on the edges or margins of the leaf which will become new plants. Roots. You can also get vegetative propagation from root. Sweet potato, dahlia and cactus can be propagated from seeds. This is sweet potato. Here is a color diagram. What is a sweet potato? Sweet potato can be grown from root. Next is budding. Small bulb-like outgrowths from yeast cell. There is yeast cell. And this outgrowth is called a bud. A small bulb-like outgrowth. This is called a bud. Now these bulbs can form chains, long chains. And when they separate, each of them will become a new plant. The bud individually can give rise to new plant, but they sometimes form chains. And each bud in the chain will give rise to a new plant. So in yeast cell, we have got budding as the method of reproduction. Fragmentation. We often see slippery patches, green patches in moist places. This is called pond scum. This is called pond scum, a very green and very slippery often found near the ponds or near any dam places. Now, algae, for example, one algae is Spirogara, which is in the form of a ribbon, flat ribbon. This can break into pieces. Here we have shown it is breaking into 3 pieces. It can also break into more pieces. Each piece is becoming a new plant. Fragmentation means breaking. Just break the Spirogara into many pieces and each piece will become a new plant. That is fragmentation. Now we come to asexual reproduction. Spores are single-celled asexual reproduction units. Spores are small bodies covered with tough coating. They are single-celled. They are actually the units of asexual reproduction. And each spore can germinate into a new plant. We got, for instance, in moss and fern. In moss, spores are found in sporangia or spore boxes, borne on a stalk. Here we have the stalk, long stalk, and this is the spore box. And here you can see the spore bursts and liberates a large number of spores. The sporangia, not the spore burst, sorry, the sporangia, the spore box will burst and liberate into a large number of spores into the air. We have fern. In fern, on the underside of leaves, you can get red spots. See all these red spots. Each red spot is called a sorus. And these sori, actually they are indicating that they contain spores. And the spores will grow into a baby plant called a prothallus and which will again grow into a fern plant. So we get sori as brown spots or red spots on the underside of fern leaves. And we have got a sporangia or spore box in case of moss, which will burst to liberate spores, and each spore will grow into a new plant. And while we are at it, look at this particular leaf of the fern, which is actually like a dog's tail coiled. This is a particular feature of fern and it is called circinate vernation. Anyway, that is not in the syllabus, so don't worry about it. But note the feature, the young leaves will be coiled in many of the ferns. Now, what are the advantages? Plants grown by vegetative method grow faster and bear flowers earlier. If you can have a plant which you grow by stem cutting or root or bud, it will grow faster and it will bear fruits or flowers earlier. They are exact duplicates or copies of the parent plant. I find a particular sugarcane or strawberry very good. And if I grow it from the stem, I'll get exactly the same features, exactly the same characters. So there will be exact duplicates or copies called clones of the parent plant, containing exactly the same characteristics. A large number of plants can be grown in a very short period. It is a very quick method. Now here we have a comparison of vegetative propagation, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. In vegetative, new plants are formed from root, stem, leaf, or bud. Here, new plants are formed from spores in case of asexual reproduction. And in sexual reproduction, plants are grown from seeds. So here we grow from root, stem, leaf. Here we grow from spores and here from seeds. Only one parent plant is required in both the cases, in vegetative and asexual, but 2 parent plants will be needed in case of sexual. Vegetative propagation can be natural or artificial. Asexual reproduction is natural and sexual reproduction is also natural. In vegetative and asexual reproduction, we do not need pollination or fertilization. Both in vegetative and in asexual, no pollination required, no fertilization required. In case of sexual reproduction, we need pollination followed by fertilization. So let's have a summary. Vegetative propagation means new plants are grown from root, stem, leaf, or bud. From stem, rose, sugarcane, strawberry. From buds in underground stem, potato and ginger. From buds on leaf margin, bryophyllum. From root, sweet potato, dahlia. By budding, yeast. By fragmentation, spirogyra, that is a pond scum. And asexual reproduction from spores in case of mucor and fern. The above methods are not regarded as sexual reproduction because we have only one plant required. We use only one plant. And secondly, we are not growing plants from seeds. When plants are not grown from seeds and only one parent plant is needed, it is not regarded as sexual reproduction. That was our brief last-minute review of plant reproduction for Class 7 from Easy Elite English Educational Trust. Thank you and goodbye.